Hi, how you doing? Justin here. Welcome to IM-141, and in this lesson we're going to be looking at the A bar chord grips for minor, minor 7 and dominant 7th. Now hopefully you're going well with your A-shaped major chord, and you'll be pleased to know that that's the hardest one, and these next three that we look at are relatively easy. So let's get to a close-up and check out these new chords. The first chord we're looking at is this one. This is a D minor. Of course, we're starting here on the note D, which is the 5th fret of the 5th string, and making sure that the tip of the first finger is touching the 6th string to mute it up. It's still rolled over a little bit onto the side like all of our other bar chords, and the shape that goes down should look a little bit familiar because it's almost exactly the same as our E-shaped bar chord, but moved down toward the ground by one string. Should sound like this. If I change it with the A chord, you can see it's exactly the same shape. That's an A major chord. If we move everything down a string, including the first finger, make sure that the first finger moves down with the chord shape. Don't let it kind of hang over the top like that and play the note A. That would be not what you want. We're playing on the note D, the tip touching the 6th string, putting the shape down. That'll be 3rd finger on the 7th fret 4th string, little finger on the 7th fret 3rd string, and 2nd finger on the 6th fret of the 2nd string, and we have our D minor chord. Now don't let yourself get confused between this minor shape with the 5th string root and this very similar shape on the 6th string root. Now I'm sure most of you didn't confuse the chords E and A minor, so there's no reason why you should get confused with this. Just remember where the root note is. If the root note's on the 6th string, this is a major shape. This is an E major shape bar chord. If the root note is on the 5th string, we end up with an A minor shape bar chord. This particular chord being a D minor because that's the note D. So there we have it. That's our first new shape. There's not really many common problems with this one. I guess if there is one, it's that the 2nd finger's a bit too flat there and mutes the thinner string. But I'm sure you'll get that if you're keeping your fingers nice and round, as you should be by now from all your other bar chords. When you do your strum, pick out strum, check the thicker string is muted. You should be getting that nice by now. The second shape we're looking at is the minor 7th chord, which is exactly the same, but we're lifting our little finger off. So we now have kind of 5, 7, 5, 6, 5. Of course, that means that there's an added pressure with the bar because we're having to play that 3rd string with the bar. And we've not got quite as much luxury for moving our first finger up and down now, because the tip of the finger needs to be touching the 6th string. So I'd be surprised if you don't find that you can play it automatically, because usually the joint of the first finger sits exactly on the 3rd string. So most people don't struggle with this chord. The most common problem is the 3rd finger here laying a little bit too flat and muting that 3rd string. So make sure when you're checking it out, if you get this, don't blame your bar first. Try lifting off your 3rd finger, and if you get a good note, that it means that it was the 3rd finger's fault. So watch out for that one. Otherwise, minor 7. So we've looked at minor, lift off little finger, we got minor 7. Now we've got one completely kind of new grip, which is the dominant 7th chord. Now I'm tucking my 2nd finger out of the way, but you wouldn't normally do that. It would normally just kind of hang around with the others. But just for clarity, I'll tuck it away there. Now what we've got here is 5, 7, 5, 7, 5. Very funky little chord, this one. The only real problem is just getting that G string ringing out again. So when you're picking it out, one note at a time, just make sure that the 3rd finger isn't leaning over or little finger isn't too high and muting that one. Very occasionally I see people muting the thinner string with the underneath of the little finger, but that's not very common either. So most people, by the stage you're at now, should be fairly comfortable at getting these chords, and it's just a matter of remembering them. I think you probably know the drill by now. It is take each one of those chords, strum, pick out, strum, make sure every chord is clear, and make sure you memorize each of the grips in relation to the root note. Also, make sure, double check that you know all of those root notes on the 5th string. I really would expect that by this kind of stage in the intermediate foundation. If you've got any doubts about the notes on the 6th string and the 5th string, do heaps of revision right now and sort that out, because that's an absolute must know, is the notes on those thickest 2 strings. As I've mentioned before, preferably you should be able to figure out the notes all over the guitar neck by now, but if there's any sort of lag, it definitely shouldn't be on the 6th string and the 5th string. Give it plenty of practice, get them under your fingers, and I'll see you for another lesson very soon. Take care, bye-bye.